Let's take a look at two pictures that have kind of changed some of the things and perceptions in my mind about Ozarks history that I was not expecting. And actually, those clues have been around me my whole life. Those two pictures are 74 years old, and today we will take a look at those two significant pictures. Are you ready? Let's go. Oh, welcome everyone. This is Vincent Anderson with Ozarks History. I am so happy you are here with us today. We are going to have a good time discovering these two pictures, and they are really cool, and some of the things that we're discovering with those. First of all, I want to say thank you for all the new subscribers to our channel. I really appreciate it. We are growing in our subscriptions. If you have not subscribed to our channel, please click the like button and subscribe to our channel for more Ozarks history. So now we are going to go ahead and launch on into those pictures, and I'm going to give you a little background and context. We're going to be talking about the Hogan Cemetery again. We talked about it the last time. We're going to talk about the Hogan Cemetery again, and we are going to launch into the old Corps of Engineers map that was printed showing the Hogan Cemetery, and I kind of have it circled here right there right before you get into the Yoakum Bend on the White River. That's near Oakland, Arkansas. And as we work our way on down, I will show you a map also of the Google map. And there is Oakland, Arkansas on the right-hand side of the White River and of the Bull Shoals Lake. I'm going to show you a map that was, this was actually drawn in 1885 of the White River. And there's the location of the Hogan Cemetery. And it's right across from Yoakum Bend. I'm going to take a little bit closer look here. This is right across or right on the edge of McGar Shoals as the Little North Fork goes on up. And McGar Shoals is mentioned actually by Henry Rowe Schoolcraft in his journal when he came through the Ozarks in 1818 through 1819. He actually went and he traveled right through the White River on this little section right here. So it's pretty significant, and I really like this map here. So let's go on down. There's another book that's kind of helped me in my studies here as I am investigating different things going on, and it's called A Shape in Time and Space. And this is a really good book because it talks about neck discoid square shoulder tombstones and gravestones, and that's what we're going to actually be looking at today. And the Hogan Cemetery is filled. Over at least half of the tombstones in there have neck discoid, square shoulder, or just plain discoid tombstones, and it's pretty significant. So here's the first picture that has really changed my perception here, because as I started looking at this a couple weeks ago, I'm seeing the neck discoid, and I mentioned the neck discoids there, but then I started counting how many significant neck discoid tombstones there were. And so this is what a neck discoid on the left-hand side. This is what a grave marker actually looks like. And they are a lot of times associated with the stepstone grave or a stone box grave. And they were going to be right on the end of it. And sometimes they're going to be on the top, capping it off. But these in the Hogan Cemetery are on the end. And I have it outlined in red of the stake that the Corps of Engineers have set in there for the disinterment of the body in that grave right there also. And I've already started outlining some of the neck discoids that are side by side each other. So I have two here right on the forefront. And if you look on the back right-hand side, there is another one back there that I started looking at and going, oh my goodness, there's another one. And then if you look up on the left-hand side in the background, there's another one on the right-hand side also. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. And on the left-hand side, you'll see another larger one. And this has a larger shoulder on it. And it can actually go deeper in the ground or stand higher up. And these are all very unique. And the book that I was mentioning about, A Shape in Time and Space, actually gets into the customs and the origination of where the neck discoid tombstones originate from. And I'm going to show you some of those that are there in the Hogan Cemetery. The last one we looked at is this more of a shoulder square on that we can see. The second one I have circled in red. The others are kind of on the right-hand side, and those are pretty significant also. Just I just didn't expect to see all these here because honestly, growing up as a kid, every so often we would go down to the Oakland Cemetery to decoration. And the decoration in the summertime, I remember walking out through the cemetery and seeing those round discs sticking up out of the ground thinking, well, it looks like someone's head. And, just growing up seeing that all the time, you don't really think about the significance of it because you see it all the time. But it is significant in how they tie back to families and counties back in southern Illinois, Tennessee, and then they also originate back in one county of Ainsley up in Wales and also up in Scotland, also in the Ulster section of Ireland. It's all significant, and they really have a lot of Scottish twinge and flavor to those, and we can find those in Arkansas. This book actually talks about finding them in other counties in northern Arkansas, but it never mentions Baxter or Marion County where these are located at, were located at, and are located in. Now, Hogan Cemetery is not the only cemetery that has these. As I was started going back through the pictures again, there are more cemeteries that have these neck discoids, and we're going to be talking about that. Like in the future, we're going to have the Yoakum Cemetery. Another one would be the Yoakum Bend Cemetery across the river or across the lake. It has the neck discoids and plus others in there too. We're going to keep rolling on through, and here's the second picture, more neck discoids. So there's one on the left, the one in the back there. And look, when they took the picture, this was towards I think this was March 20th. See the little white in there? That's the trace of snow left. And down there in the background, you can still see some snow in the bottom of the holler back there in the field. So there's still traces of snow there. And here on the right-hand side is another neck discoid, and then also on the back. So there's 4 that I've outlined in yellow. And then in the back behind those, there's are 2 more that I actually put in red to make it a little bit easier to see. But there's a total of 6 neck discoids in this picture here. Then we have them all outlined here, and I kind of put some lines into those so we can see those. I just didn't expect for that to just pop up to me because I've seen these all of my life. And so it's just wonderful how all of a sudden you just have this epiphany and you're like, oh my goodness, this has been around me all the time, but I just never noticed it. And I'm just having a lot of fun with these photographs here. Also in the back, we started investigating in the back. There is actually a flat roof coffin cover. So there is someone buried underneath a large stone. It's native stone back there. But if you start looking at it, it's the shape of a coffin lid. And it looks something like this. And these are scattered throughout the Ozarks also. I've even seen these over in Madison County. So they're all over, not all over, but they were kind of common in quite a few family cemeteries throughout the Ozarks. So that was the 2 significant pictures that I wanted to take time to show you. I was just so thrilled, and we're going to go back into the Hogan Cemetery and then a little bit next week and discover a couple more things, and then we are going to launch off into the Yoakum Cemetery and then the Yoakum Bend Cemetery. And these cemeteries have other unique features about them, and I think we are going to have a great time discovering all the cool things about these old cemeteries that no longer exist because they've been exhumed and replanted in other places. Let me just say something. If anything ever happened to the Bull Shoals Lake and it went down, or something ever happened to the dam, you're going to find Vincent Anderson in a pair of rubber boots running around these areas that once had cemeteries just to see what's going on over the past 70 to 100 years later. I am not wishing ill on the Bull Shoals Dam, but if the lake ever goes down, I'm running out to some of those spots just to take a look. Thank you very much for stopping by Ozarks History. I am so happy that you got to share this time with us, and we are looking forward to seeing you again very soon. Have a good day. Bye-bye.